amazing listeners. Welcome back to our episode. I'm your host, Pia, and you're tuning in to We Listen and Learn. You know, there's something really special about the energy I feel when we connect like this, and I just want to say how grateful I am that you've chosen to spend this time with me. Today, we're diving deep into something that's really close to my heart, the journey of unconditional self-love. And let me tell you, this is going to be such an amazing and transformative episode. I'm going to share 7 powerful tips that have completely changed my perspective on self-love, and I know they'll resonate with you too. Whether you're just starting your self-love journey or looking to deepen your relationship with yourself, this episode is going to give you practical, heartfelt strategies that you can start using right away. We'll explore everything from self-acceptance to daily practices that will help you cultivate that beautiful, unconditional love for yourself. So get comfortable, take a deep breath, and let's begin this beautiful journey together. You know, when we talk about unconditional self-love, we're really talking about accepting and cherishing ourselves completely, without any prerequisites or conditions. It's like having this unwavering commitment to ourselves, regardless of our achievements, mistakes, or what others might think of us. And let me tell you, it's absolutely fundamental to living a fulfilled and authentic life. I remember when I first started exploring this concept, and it was honestly quite challenging. We often grow up thinking we need to earn our own love, that we need to achieve certain things, or be a certain way to be worthy. But that's not what unconditional self-love is about at all. Think of it this way. Just like how a parent loves their child unconditionally, we need to develop that same kind of pure, accepting love for ourselves. It's about embracing every part of who we are, our strengths, our weaknesses, our perfect imperfections, and choosing to love ourselves through all of life's ups and downs. And you know what's really interesting? When we start practicing unconditional self-love, it creates this beautiful ripple effect in our lives. Our relationships improve, we make better decisions, and we become more resilient in facing life's challenges. It's like building this unshakable foundation of inner peace and confidence that nothing external can disturb. From my own experience, I can tell you that developing unconditional self-love isn't always easy, and it's definitely a journey rather than a destination. There are days when it flows naturally, and others when we need to consciously choose to love ourselves. But trust me, every step on this path is worth it, because when we truly love ourselves unconditionally, we open the door to experiencing life in its fullest, most beautiful form. Let's dive into our first tip, which is all about self-acceptance. And this is really the foundation of unconditional self-love. You know, it's like building a house. You need a strong foundation before you can add the walls and the roof. That's exactly what self-acceptance is to self-love. Think about this for a moment. How often do you look in the mirror and focus on things you'd like to change? Or replay situations in your mind, wishing you had acted differently? We're all guilty of this, and it's completely natural. But here's the thing. True self-acceptance means embracing every single part of yourself, even those parts you might consider flaws. Let me share a practical strategy that really helped me. Try starting each day by looking at yourself in the mirror, and instead of focusing on what you want to change, acknowledge 3 things you appreciate about yourself. These can be physical features, personality traits, or even small achievements. And it might feel awkward at first, but stick with it. Another powerful practice is what I like to call the self-acceptance pause. Whenever you catch yourself being self-critical, pause and ask, would I say this to someone I love? If the answer is no, then why say it to yourself? Instead, try to reframe that thought with kindness and understanding. Remember, accepting yourself doesn't mean you can't grow or improve. It's like loving your home while still wanting to decorate it differently. You can absolutely work on yourself while still accepting who you are in this moment. The key is to approach any changes from a place of love rather than criticism. Now, let's talk about our second tip, daily self-care practices. And this is something I'm really passionate about because it's like making deposits in your self-love bank account every single day. You know, it's not just about those occasional spa days or treating yourself to something special. It's about creating consistent, nurturing habits that show yourself love every single day. Let's start with physical self-care. Because our bodies do so much for us, right? It's like having this amazing friend who's always there, supporting you through everything. Making time for regular exercise, even if it's just a 15-minute walk, getting enough sleep, and nourishing your body with foods that make you feel good. These aren't just health practices, they're acts of self-love. And then there's emotional self-care, which is just as important. This could be setting aside quiet time for meditation or journaling, saying no to things that drain your energy, or maybe just taking 5 minutes to breathe deeply and check in with yourself. You know, it's like having a daily heart-to-heart with yourself. One practice that's been really transformative for me is what I call the morning me time. Before diving into emails or social media, I take just 10 minutes to do something that fills my cup. Sometimes it's reading a few pages of a book, sometimes it's stretching, sometimes it's just sitting quietly with my coffee. And it's amazing how this small act of prioritizing yourself can set the tone for your entire day. Remember, self-care isn't selfish, it's necessary. It's like when you're on an airplane and they tell you to put your own oxygen mask on first before helping others. You can't pour from an empty cup, so making these daily self-care practices non-negotiable is one of the most loving things you can do for yourself. Let's move on to our third tip, which is all about positive self-talk. You know, that little voice in your head? It's like having a constant companion, and the way it speaks to you can literally shape your entire reality. I mean, think about it. We talk to ourselves more than we talk to anyone else, so these conversations we have with ourselves, they're super important. And here's the thing, most of us tend to be our own harshest critics. We say things to ourselves that we would never dream of saying to a friend. Like, when you make a small mistake, do you immediately jump to "I'm so stupid" or "I can't do anything right"? I know I used to do this all the time, and it was really affecting how I felt about myself. The good news is that we can actually transform this negative self-talk into something empowering. One technique I absolutely love is what I call the friend filter. Whenever you catch yourself being self-critical, pause and ask, would I say this to my best friend? If the answer is no, then why are you saying it to yourself? Another powerful strategy is creating positive affirmations that actually feel true to you. And this is key. They need to feel authentic. Instead of saying, "I'm perfect," which might feel fake, try something like, "I'm learning and growing every day," or "I'm doing the best I can with what I know right now." You know what's really amazing? When you start practicing positive self-talk, it's like you're rewiring your brain. Each time you replace a negative thought with a supportive one, you're creating new neural pathways. Think of it as building a new habit. Just like working out a muscle, the more you practice, the stronger it gets. Remember, this isn't about denying negative emotions or pretending everything's perfect. It's about treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding you'd offer to someone you love. And that's what unconditional self-love is all about. Now, let's talk about our fourth tip, setting healthy boundaries. And this is such a crucial part of self-love that often gets overlooked. You know, it's like having a beautiful garden. You need a fence to protect it, right? That's exactly what boundaries do for your well-being. Setting boundaries isn't being mean or selfish. It's actually one of the most loving things you can do, not just for yourself, but for your relationships too. Like, when you're always saying yes to everything and everyone, you end up feeling drained and resentful, and that's not good for anyone. Let me share something personal. I used to be terrible at setting boundaries. I would take on extra work, agree to plans I didn't want to make, and basically put everyone else's needs before my own. It was like I was trying to be some kind of superhero, but instead, I was burning myself out. Here's what I've learned about setting healthy boundaries. First, you need to get really clear about what matters to you and what you're comfortable with. It's like drawing a line in the sand and saying, this is what works for me and this is what doesn't. And when it comes to communicating these boundaries, remember to be firm but kind. You don't need to apologize for having limits. Instead of saying, "I'm sorry, but I can't," try saying, "Thank you for thinking of me, but that doesn't work for me." See the difference? It's all about standing in your power while still being respectful. One really important thing to remember is that boundaries aren't fixed. They can change as you grow and your needs evolve. And that's totally okay. The key is to check in with yourself regularly and notice when something feels off. Like, if you're feeling overwhelmed or resentful, that's usually a sign that a boundary needs to be set or reinforced. All right, let's dive into our fifth tip: forgiveness and letting go. This is something that hits really close to home for many of us because, let's be honest, we can be our own harshest critics. It's like we carry around this heavy backpack filled with past mistakes, regrets, and self-judgment, and it just weighs us down every single day. You know, I've noticed that we often give others more grace than we give ourselves. Like, when a friend makes a mistake, we're quick to comfort them and say, "It's okay, everyone makes mistakes." But when it comes to our own slip-ups, we can be so unforgiving. Here's the thing about self-forgiveness. It's not about letting yourself off the hook or pretending the mistake never happened. It's about acknowledging what happened, learning from it, and choosing to move forward with compassion for yourself. Think of it like cleaning out a wound. Yes, it might sting at first, but it's necessary for healing. Let me share some practical strategies that have really helped me practice self-compassion. First, try talking to yourself like you would talk to a dear friend. Instead of harsh criticism, use gentle, understanding words. And when those negative thoughts creep in, pause and ask yourself, would I say this to someone I love? Another powerful practice is writing a letter of forgiveness to yourself. Pour out all those feelings of regret or shame, acknowledge them, and then consciously choose to release them. It's like opening your hands and letting go of hot coals that have been burning you. Remember, self-forgiveness is not a one-time event. It's a practice. Some days will be easier than others, and that's completely normal. The key is to keep showing up for yourself with patience and understanding, knowing that letting go of past mistakes makes room for new growth and possibilities. Our sixth tip is all about celebrating those small wins. And I cannot stress enough how important this is. You know, we often wait for those big, life-changing moments to celebrate ourselves, but life is actually made up of all these tiny victories that happen every single day. Think about it like building a beautiful mosaic. Each small piece might not look like much on its own, but when you step back, all those little pieces come together to create something absolutely magnificent. That's exactly what our small daily wins do for our journey of self-love. Maybe you finally made your bed this morning when you've been struggling with depression, or perhaps you spoke up in that meeting when you usually stay quiet. Or you chose to drink water instead of soda today. These might seem like tiny things, but they're actually huge steps forward in your personal growth journey. I've started keeping what I call a wins journal, and it's completely changed how I view my progress. Every evening, I write down 3 things I'm proud of accomplishing that day, no matter how small they might seem. Sometimes it's as simple as, I smiled at a stranger or I took a full lunch break today. You know what's amazing? When you start acknowledging these small wins, you create this beautiful cycle of positive reinforcement. It's like each time you celebrate a small victory, you're telling yourself, I see you, I value you, and I'm proud of you. And that feeling, it motivates you to keep going, to keep growing, to keep achieving. So I encourage you to start really noticing and celebrating those small wins in your life. Did you drink enough water today? That's worth celebrating. Did you take a small step toward a bigger goal? That deserves recognition. Remember, every big success story is really just a collection of small wins strung together. And now, let's talk about our 7th and final tip, cultivating gratitude. You know, gratitude is like this magical key that unlocks a deeper level of self-love. And I'm so excited to share this with you because it's been absolutely transformative in my own journey. Think about it like this. When we practice gratitude, we're essentially training our minds to focus on the abundance in our lives rather than what we think we're lacking. And it's not just about saying thank you, it's about really feeling that appreciation deep in your heart. Here's what I love to do, and I encourage you to try this too. Every morning, before you even get out of bed, take a moment to think of 3 things you're grateful for about yourself. Like, maybe You're grateful for your resilience or your kindness, or even just your ability to keep trying despite challenges. You can also start a gratitude journal, and this is such a powerful practice. So write down not just what you're grateful for, but why it matters to you. For example, instead of just writing, "I'm grateful for my body," you might write, "I'm grateful for my legs because they allow me to take beautiful walks in nature." Another practice that's been really helpful for me is what I call gratitude pauses throughout the day. When you're brushing your teeth, waiting in line, or even stuck in traffic, use that time to find something to appreciate about yourself or your life. These little moments of appreciation add up to create this beautiful foundation of self-love. Remember, gratitude isn't about ignoring the hard stuff or pretending everything's perfect. It's about acknowledging that even in our imperfections, even in our struggles, there's still so much to be thankful for. And when we approach ourselves with this attitude of gratitude, it becomes so much easier to love ourselves unconditionally. Wow, what an incredible journey we've been on today, exploring these 7 powerful tips for unconditional self-love. I truly hope these strategies resonate with you and that you'll start implementing them in your daily life. Remember, self-love isn't a destination. It's an ongoing journey. And you're already taking such beautiful steps by being here and learning with me. You know, every time we choose to practice self-acceptance, engage in self-care, or show ourselves gratitude, we're building this amazing foundation of love that nobody can take away from us. And that's absolutely priceless. Before we wrap up this special episode, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining me today. Your presence here means so much to me, and I'm so grateful that we get to grow and learn together on this podcast. Please like and subscribe and click that notification bell so that you don't miss any of my episodes. And if you found value in today's discussion, share this with your friends and family or anyone you know who might benefit from these insights. If you have any topic ideas that we can discuss in our future episodes, please comment down below. Thank you so much for being here until the end of this amazing episode. I really appreciate you guys so much for keep supporting my channel always. And always remember, keep listen and learn. I love you all so much, and stay tuned for next Monday.